everybody, and welcome to another episode of HP Critical. It's a podcast where my friends and I talk all things gaming, and sometimes anime and entertainment, and sometimes like diversity issues, and sometimes women's issues, and sometimes LGBT issues, and like sometimes black people issues, and like sometimes video game issues, and like cats, and
sometimes everything, and dogs,
and you know, episode 69, and like everything. So like Kelly's adorable cat right now going into the box. It's so cute. That's this type of podcast. If you're a first time watcher, hello, welcome, thank you for coming, or listener, hello, welcome, thank you for listening. If it is not your first time, welcome back. It's going to be a fun one today. I've got Kelly here. You want to say hi, Kelly?
I'm sorry, my cat is really struck by
It's so cute.
Shout out
I
watchers.
I tell him not to go in the top box, but he doesn't listen. He'll go in the bottom. That's easier. Hi, everyone. I hope that you're all well.
And, of course, Brandon.
Hey, excuse me. They call me Brand Von Regan, sir.
Yes!
For everyone watching the video version of this podcast, this wonderful Claude Von Regan themed hoodie was gifted to me by Drew for my birthday. Thank you so much, Drew. I love it.
Very welcome.
I love it so much. It also came with like a wig. I'm not wearing it for the podcast, but tune in for our Halloween episode in a few months, and you'll see me with that too. I had to do it. I love it so much. I had to wear it for this podcast. But anyway.
I actually told Brandon, I was messaging him, I was like, you have to open them both at the same time because the wig got to him first. And I was like, he's going to think I'm crazy because I bought him a fucking wig for his birthday. But it's like the whole thing. So I was like, you have to open them together. And like, he is my Claude Von Regan, of course. So I had to do it for my boy. And of course, Gabe is still gone due to scheduling conflicts. We miss you.
Speaking of Gabe, he's literally on chat saying you're crazy though.
Oh, see, Gabe, you see how he's in chat, but he's not here. We miss you so much. I didn't even know you were in chat. I personally miss you a lot. This is totally a Gabe episode, so it's very sad that you're not going to be here because I know that you would be talking shit about all the subjects I have for tonight, and I'd love to argue with you about it. But yeah, while Gabe's not here, I think he's a very worthy, chaotic replacement in the wonderful Kristie. Okay, come on. Here, and she's gonna be here for the duration of Gabe not being here. So we've got a lovely, wonderful replacement. Kristie, thank you so much for being here with us. I'm so excited to talk to you about video gaming news, of course, as usual. And with that, I think we should.
Wait, I'm sorry. I was just two things I want to say. First off, Gabe says he misses us too. We miss you, man. And the other thing is, I don't know if you're watching this right now, viewer. Named MTM2482, but you have followed and subscribed to us before our stream even started, so thank you so much. We really appreciate both of those things. Like, thank you so much.
No, seriously, yes, thank you. Yes, please. We're working our butts off over here, so totally appreciate it. Any type of interaction follows anything. You know, obviously go check out HPCritical.com. We're loving it. We love you. We love everyone. All of you listeners who continue to listen every week as well. Like, y'all are the best. Y'all are the best. Thanks. Thank you. We're just, you know, a wonderful little company trying to talk about diversity in video games and give you the latest gaming news, and I appreciate that you guys are here. And speaking of gaming news, let's go ahead and dive right in. This one's kind of interesting because when I wanted to talk about it, the tweet was there and it has since been deleted. So I don't even know if we're gonna talk about it, but I will say that the former EA CEO John Riccitiello said that devs who don't focus on microtransactions are some of the biggest fucking idiots. Excuse my language. That was the tweet by IGN. The tweet has since been deleted. I don't know why. So I can't give you guys details on it because I can't pull up the article currently because the tweet that had the article link has been deleted and I'm not going to go look for it. So take from that what you will. I don't know. So we're just going to go ahead and move on.
Well, hold on real quick. I was going to do like a follow-up that like, oh, okay. Gabe first says they re-uploaded the tweet with the actual article. I don't know if that's on there. It's too late. We can move on. That's fine. We can move on.
No, but were you going to say something?
What I was going to say was, like, I think IGN did, like, a follow-up article a few days ago saying that John Riccitiello has apologized for calling those who don't focus on that big fucking idiots.
I mean, that's, you know...
That sounds like some nice old PR stuff. Yeah.
I love when devs speak their mind. And then get caught and have to retract.
I mean, you can speak your mind, but there's always a court of public opinion.
Exactly. Literally. And that's us, HP Critical. We are the court of public opinion. You're welcome.
The Senate will decide your fate.
So yeah,
they're just better.
let's go ahead and move on then. So VideoGameChronicles.com, among other places, did talk about this, and I wanted to talk about it. Final Fantasy XVI ditched turn-based combat to appeal to younger generations, producer says. I thought about the expected sales of Final Fantasy XVI and the impact that we have to deliver. Naoki Yoshida says. This is, as I mentioned, from VideoGameChronicles.com, written by Jordan Midler. Kristie and I talked about this a little bit before, and they've mentioned before that the reason that these games are going more the Kingdom Hearts action-packed route is because they're trying to appeal to a younger generation who just doesn't seem to get the turn-based aspect of video games. What? I say what because maybe it's because I'm old, but this makes me so sad. Because I think games like Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal, which are still relatively new. When did Royal come out?
Royal came out 2020, but the OG came out 2017.
So, like, something like Royal, that is still relatively new, that people have been wanting to get on Switch, that is a wonderful turn-based game that I still, to this day, will say does not really feel like it's turn-based because it's so action-packed. It has reached tons of people. People love it. There's another story that I was going to bring up later on that I'll just bring up right now, which is that Final Fantasy X, obviously completely turn-based, just reached 20.8 million copies sold digitally and physically. 20.8 million. I don't know another game that's done that off the top of my head. That's a shit ton of sales. For an old game that came out, 2001? It's the 25th anniversary, so, I don't know, math it, someone.
21st.
21st, sorry. It's the 21st anniversary. That's a game that sold 20.8 million copies. And it's turn-based. Persona 5 Royal, turn-based. Yakuza Like a Dragon, a really, really successful title. Turn-based. A lot of people loved it. It's a turn-based title. I understand that they're going forward with more action-based and going away from turn-based because they're trying to appeal to a younger audience. But it just does sadden me a little bit because I feel like Final Fantasy is kind of known for its turn-based. 1 through, I would say, 13 actually. I think 1 through 13 have all had some type of, even if it's like an active time battle system, there hasn't really been a Kingdom Hearts FF15 style, but it looks like they're pushing into that even with Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I know that all of us have played, even though all of us haven't finished it. I know all of us have played it. So really I want your guys' thoughts on this. How do you feel about such a prolific series just continually moving away from turn-based? Do you even like turn-based? Does it not bother you? Is this something that you're expecting anyway? How you feeling?
I mean, the writing was on the wall. They've been saying it for the longest time that they've been trying to move away from turn-based, just because Final Fantasy is always a series that's always changing with each iteration, and seeing how, as of late, more gamers, they're more inclined towards action-based or in action-adventure games. They're trying to follow the trend and capture that. So, I mean, it wasn't to be... it wasn't surprising that he would say that, just because that's always been the thing that they've been saying for so long now.
But, how do you feel about it personally?
I mean, personally,
I
don't care. Just give me a good game with good story, with great character development, and I'm solid.
All right.
I want to piggyback off of what she said real quick because that's very true, because if you look how take the Final Fantasy series and the Dragon Quest series and how different those evolutions have been. Dragon Quest has stayed, for better or worse, traditional from 1 to 11, where it's very turn-based and they just kind of build off that. But Final Fantasy, anyone that's been a long time fan of the series, you could see that they've been trying to constantly change that battle system. Like you said, Jarrell, it's been turn-based for a good long time, but they've been slowly but surely trying to get into a more active time thing. Like with 12, it's still turn-based technically, but you're moving your characters around more. 13 have that system with the paradigm.
You saw it with 13, and I think you saw it a lot in Lightning Returns, is what I've heard. I still need to play Lightning Returns.
Yeah, for sure. But the point is that like as the series has gone further, they were sneaking closer and closer to the action turn based until we got that with 15, where it was just a full on action RPG, and 16 is going to be the same. And I'm gonna say how I feel about second, but I want to say one thing as well. I think a lot of people have obviously reacted to this quite negatively, and I just want to clear that Naoki Yoshida, he made this statement. Possibly because of data that he got from like, player base or whatever, what people were saying. To be clear, anyone that gets mad at Naoki Yoshida, it's not how he personally feels. Like he grew up with turn-based RPGs. I'm sure he still loves them. It's not that he's saying that no one said turn-based RPG games are bad. No one said that. It's just that what he thinks that the interest is kind of like leading to. That's why games like Octopath can still exist today, or other Team Asano games like that are still traditional turn-based. That's Square Enix still puts out there, that there's obviously still a market for these games. People will play them. And you just mentioned Persona earlier, so there's people care about turn-based RPGs. So I think the state, especially, and here's a really good example of a turn-based RPG that's made for kids, Pokemon. That is still wildly popular. So it's not like, so I think the statement of like that, the younger generation doesn't really care about turn-based RPGs anymore. I'm even wondering if he didn't even mean kids specifically, just like younger gamers, like in between the ages of say, I don't know, 13 to 23 or something like that. Maybe he feels that audience is not really going for it. But the thing is, 16 is kind of a contradiction for that, because this game is made for like older Final Fantasy fans. It's looking like it's gonna be an M-rated game. From the trailers and all that good stuff. So it's weird to me that this game made for like older Final Fantasy fans is the one. It's action, not turn-based. So it's weird. Like Kristie said, I personally don't care. I mean, the game looks good. If the story's good, if the gameplay's good, I have a good time with it. I think as long as turn-based RPGs exist somewhere, I'm okay. As they don't die away completely, I'm good.
Kelly, question.
Yes.
Have you played any turn-based games?
Yes.
Which ones?
It's Paper Mario's turn-based, right?
Hell yeah, it is.
Okay. And I played, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga.
Let's go.
But I literally remember them so vividly because I hated them so much. I hate turn-based games.
Damn. But no, yeah. I knew this, so that's not doesn't say as bad.
Like, I'm dying right there.
Yeah, maybe I'm just bad at them. But yeah, so those two games vividly I remember being turn-based, and I'm like, this is not for me.
It's very slow.
Fair. It's not. Yeah, turn-based isn't for everyone. That's the thing. That's the other thing about about Yoshida's statement is like his statement is like there's just a lot of people who are just not into that genre as well, and I mean,
he has to go with what Square's PR has been spinning for ever since 15 and ever since Versus 13 became 15, because more than likely 15 might have been still turn-based if Versus 13 if they didn't switch Versus 13 over.
Yeah,
possibly. But who would have known?
So Kelly, I know that you don't like turn-based, but my question is, because I know that you're getting through Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it is not turn-based. No. However, it does have, a sequence where you're able to go and select what you want to do. It has like little turn-based elements, but it's not turn-based. Do you think that if you were to play, and obviously this is just a question that you might not even be able to answer, but based on the story, the music, the graphics, etc., everything that you have liked about Final Fantasy VII Remake, do you think that it is a game that you would actually play if it were turn-based and it were more action-oriented?
I'd say I can't play an entire turn-based game. But if there were aspects of other stuff like action or whatever, yes. I mean, there's probably turn-based aspects in a lot of games that I've played. It's just not the main gameplay, which I can deal with a little bit of it, but I don't want to just do that the whole time.
Fair. So we've got two people that don't care and one that doesn't want to do it. Love it. This is great. I'm
trying to keep an open mind, okay?
No. So my thing is the turn-based market continues to diminish. And I think that when you have such a prolific series that's gonna let's be real, it's gonna sell anyway. Of course, you're gonna reach a wider audience if you're going the action-packed route, but Square Enix has done some very questionable producing of games recently, Babylon's Fall, and like, they just be putting out shit all the time anyway. So it's not like they don't have the money to invest in a fully turn-based Final Fantasy game. It's also not like they can't put in elements of both. One of the reasons I love Final Fantasy VII Remake is that I think if you play it the right way, it's really a great balance of both like some turn-based elements with action. And 16 just looks like it's going to be action. I play Kingdom Hearts for that. I don't play Final Fantasy for that. Me personally, I think there's something really, really great about being able to think and strategize and work out a way to, like, that's why I love Octopath Traveler. Like, I think there's something special in being able to just sit there and use your brain and think about, okay, this is going to do this is how this is going to work. And it's less about how fast can I press this button, how much can I react to this, and it's more about how can I solve this, how can I figure out this enemy's weakness, how can I exploit that with the party system that I have, etc., etc. And that's why I love Persona 5. I haven't played Royal yet, but that's why I love Persona 5. It allows you to really overcome things, and like, I'll play Elden Ring. I want to hit shit in Elden Ring. Right? Like, I want to just smash shit in Elden Ring. I want to shoot shit in Call of Duty. I want the visuals and the story, but I also want to be, a part of that. And sometimes, to me, just smashing the X attack button to get through the whole game doesn't make me feel like I'm doing much of anything. That's why Elden Ring, you have to have that skill, and then you learn those skills as you evolve, and that's why it's so special. That's why I appreciate what Elden Ring is. However, something like, and sorry, Kingdom Hearts fans, but like something like Kingdom Hearts, or something like even whatever. I actually don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm done. So teachers are using 20 Xbox. There's a teacher that is using 20 Xbox Series S consoles and Game Pass to teach an English class. This is from Game Rant, written by Kevin James Billings. The headline says, a teacher is making use of 20 Xbox Series S along with a few Nintendo Switches and a PS5 to teach their class through game narratives. And I'll read you guys a little bit of this. The teacher was on Reddit. They shared their console haul and their early plans for the video game-centric class. The haul largely consists, as mentioned, of Xbox Series S systems, most of which are the standalone system and at least 2 Fortnite bundles connected through Xbox Game Pass, along with multiple Xbox controllers and battery chargers. It also includes 4 Nintendo Switch consoles with multiple Joy-Cons, wired controllers, and a Horizon Forbidden West PS5 bundle, along with a DualSense controller and charging station. So all this stuff is in the classroom. And essentially what he does is he goes in and he teaches these classes through narrative design, because it's an English class. And so anyone who's listening might not know this, but I do have a Bachelor's of Arts in English. That's why I owe my school lots of money. Joe Biden. Oh, I can't talk about political figures. Just kidding. I didn't say that. Anyway,
but I can. I'm a poli sci. Okay.
So he got grant money from his school that he used to pay for the consoles. Because he was able to convince the school board that they can teach literary concepts like the hero's journey and unreliable narrators through video games to try and improve student engagement in his classroom. And as mentioned, like, essentially what he does is he uses this to engage the students. He'll pick a game such as creative storytellers entering the space to create games like 2018's God of War or It Takes Two, both of which feature narrative themes commonly seen in literature and film. So he'll pick games like that. I'm assuming those that are obviously approved by the school, because I'm pretty sure this is a high school. And he'll talk about the narrative journey of those. And, as I could attest to how boring it can be to read 18th century British literature and talk about the narrative design of it, I would have much rather preferred to talk about the narrative design in God of War or It Takes Two, which I know that Kelly and Gabe have claimed to be a really, really great game that they both loved, especially from its narrative design. So How are you guys feeling about this? Is this a class you would take? Do you think more teachers should approach this? Do you think that this is more distracting than it is, educational? Do you think that the kids are going to actually get what the teacher's trying to give? How are you feeling?
I would kill to take this class.
I'd love to take it. It sounds very much a very engaging class, and the teacher's playing up his strengths. Because I know that I have heard from one of my coworkers, she has kids in high school, that her kids, during COVID, it was very difficult for them to engage in the classroom. And even now, it's still very difficult. And so I think him stepping up and trying to get his students to be engaged in class is such a great thing. And that's something that he can bond over with his students, especially if they do enjoy video games.
What happens when they're playing Fortnite instead? Or if they don't like video games? Or if they think the story's stupid or they're not connecting with it?
Well, then that would just be like normal class, so...
That would be...
But then you spend a shit ton of money on an Xbox.
Well, that's what I was going to say, too. Okay, so let me just say this real quick.
It's a high school, right? Is that what we're assuming? Is that it's a high school?
Mm-hmm.
In which case, I think that... I know for my high school, if we did not vibe with a teacher, we were able to go to our high school counselor and be like, hey, we're not really learning. Is there any way we can switch classes with a different teacher? Kind of work out our schedule.
But Kristie, if you do that, that is literally going to, I think in this situation, if you were to do that, it could, essentially make the school board feel like this whole thing is not working. Students are complaining they're not learning because you put an Xbox in front of them.
I mean,
your experiment doesn't look like it's going the right way.
It depends. I mean, from what it sounds like, potentially he has more students who are interested in video games, and and students who do know about the teacher, they're probably going to request to be put in his class.
Right? Everyone's going to be like, can you transfer me to this class, please? Brendan, you were saying something?
Yeah, well, first off, Gabe put Victory Royale is greater than learning. But no. What I was gonna say was, so first off, as a proponent of narrative in video games, I do think this is a really cool idea. Going off these different games that have these different narrative tales, like from God of War to I'm assuming RPGs got to be there as well, because those games have some big ass narratives, but. I just think about it this just seems like an evolution of, you mentioned it earlier, Joy, a lot of literature classes will teach 18th century British literature or other old stories to kind of get you. I mean, this is just kind of the evolution, right? It's just kind of doing a more modern story. But as cool as it is, as neat as this sounds, the logistics of this is what's making my head spin, because you're telling me this person got 20 Xboxes, 4 Nintendo Switches, and a PlayStation 5 for the classroom? With teacher salary, where are you getting this money to get all these consoles and all these games? And and you said Game Pass. Are they getting Game Pass for each individual Xbox? Because that's even more. I mean, it's not as much money as getting the game individually for each one, certainly. But that's still a lot of money if each Xbox has its own Game Pass subscription.
Well, he got a grant from the school board after it was approved. So, the school paid for all of this.
Well, then that leads to two more questions. Actually, I guess it could be just one.
That leads to even more questions.
Because, okay, so first off, this must be a very progressive school, because most school...
It's in Oregon?
Okay, there you go. Oregon is a progressive-ass state. What is that question? That this probably has a well-to-do school, progressive thinkers. So yeah, I just remember it was a few years ago when Girl Meets World was airing. There was an episode where there was a teacher, and for her literature class, instead of doing your typical 18th century literature or some Macbeth or whatever, she gave them all a copy of The Dark Knight Rises by Frank Miller, which is the Batman comic about him coming back, and she was basically trying to imprint upon the literature and the morals of Bruce Wayne being an old curmudgeon at that point and coming back to save his city, despite the fact that it would be great injury to him and great risk and all that stuff. And the whole episode was the higher ups was trying to push that down because they didn't view comics as real literature. So that was kind of like the debate of that episode. So I hear this and I just think about that. And I think logistics aside, I think it is refreshing that there is a school that is allowing, a different way to imprint English literature upon kids that they would not get any other school, quite frankly, because, you're pretty much getting the same. If you ask like 100 different kids from all around the different state, what books did you read? Did you read The Great Gatsby? Did you read A Sound of Thunder? Those novels? You'll probably get a lot of similar. But these kids from Oregon, like, oh, I saw The God of War, so I saw Atreus and Kratos' journey. And like, excuse me.
I personally, I also agree with Kelly. I would 100% try to sign up and take this class. One of the reasons I even got into game journalism is because of a course that I took in college when I was getting my degree, two courses actually. One of them was an epic fantasy course, which I might have talked about on here, where we read a bunch of epic fantasy novels. It was crazy because we read like huge ass books in a week, but it was also one of the most entertaining and interesting courses I've ever taken. And also, I was doing another course, and it was actually the course that got me more into gaming because I had to make a blog and I had to write about video games, but I started writing about different aspects of video games. Like at this time, I was writing about Final Fantasy XIV because it was the first MMO that allowed same-sex marriage, and that was one of the first articles that I had written for my blog for class, and that allowed me to progress up to the point that I am now. And one of the things that I love about video games is just narrative design. Like if a story can make me cry and take me places because I get really, really involved. I think that is definitely something that should be taught in a classroom. I don't think it's solely what should be taught. Like, I hope and assume that there's going to be, more information on classics because I also enjoyed, classic literature as well. The only thing I didn't like is being the only black person in some of my classes when you got to talk about, slave trades and all that, and everybody's looking at you weird because you're the only black person in the classroom and you got to tell them to fuck off. But aside from the awkwardness of that, I think this is like such a great idea.
I honestly, I think it's really cool when people realize that sometimes good narrative can come from the most unexpected places. Mm-hmm. And I think we're starting to this school proves that we're slowly but surely getting to a point where even video games are being considered a high form of literature. If it wants to be. Obviously, not all games are meant to be this kind of high form literature. You mentioned Fortnite. That game is really just about having fun with your favorite pop culture character and shooting. And that's fine. There's games that are good because it's just like dumb fun, and there's games that they want to challenge your mind and your expectations. So I'm glad that all this is going down.
I mean, there's also just
a supplemental.
Mm-hmm.
There's also so much that you can learn from video games, right? I always think about, how researchers looked at the virus in World of Warcraft to try to figure out how viruses spread in real life. Like things like that, like you don't get that from not having video games. But anyway, I'm moving on. CD Projekt Red's stock is worth a quarter of what it was before Cyberpunk 2077 was released. This is by PCGamer.com. Written by Joshua Wolins. The botched launch has financially humbled the former biggest games company in Europe. Any surprises? Any thoughts?
No surprises on that, and I'm just hoping that this, obviously Cyberpunk has since recovered since its disastrous launch, but obviously the damage has been done, and I really just hope that this is kind of like a hard lesson that CD Projekt Red learns from this, because the money is the reason why it came out as early as it did. Obviously needed more time, but they wanted that money now, so it came out. But I hope they realize that in the long term, you got to release your game and make sure it's good. Otherwise, it's just going to bite you in the ass later on. Because, stocks being a quarter of what it was is, not good. What were you going to say, Kristie?
I feel like that it's a good example for the board to show to their shareholders what happens when, they demand a game to be released, that when it's not even ready, they can be like, look, you forced our hands, you made us release this. This is what happens.
Yeah.
for some numbers, for anyone who's into numbers, the company's value has cratered by over 75% since just before the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. Their market capitalization was over 40 billion Polish zloty. I don't know if that's how you say the name of their currency. I apologize if I said it wrong. But it was at 40 billion Polish zloty, and it is now worth less than 10 billion. Those numbers speak for themselves. Holy shit, that's a lot of money they lost. Like,
yeah,
that's not good. Good luck to CD Projekt Red, because that's not great. Kelly, anything on that one before I move on? I know she's probably like, I'm so sick of talking about Cyberpunk, because last time we talked about it, she said that, and the time before that, she also said that.
Oh, kitty! Look at her kitty.
Wait, were you saying something, Kelly?
No, I don't really have anything on it, and I didn't remember that I said that, but that sounds like me. So.
You say it like every podcast that we bring up Cyberpunk. Yeah, so anyway, The Sims. As your resident Sim player, I'll talk about this one too. In the next free update to The Sims 4, you can create a Sim. The Create a Sim will now offer more options to customize your Sims, from who they are attracted to whether or not they are interested in woohoo. And this is such an interesting story that I wanted to talk about, because anyone who's played The Sims knows that they don't care about gender. Like, they're literally just right? Like whatever. Like, they don't have a sexual preference. They literally, Sims will do whatever the fuck they want. But now sexual orientation is now in The Sims 4, so it gives you the opportunity to decide the sexual orientation of your Sims if you choose to do so. And basically how it's going to work is that you'll be able to assign a series of attraction parameters for your sim. And on the like create a sim thing, you can, it'll ask you like the sim is romantically attracted to, and you can type like click men or women. Is the sim exploring romantically? Is the sim interested in messing around? So like if your sim is not interested in having woohoo, which is the sim's form of sex, or if your sim is not interested in men or women or anything in between, you can go in and do that. And one of the other things that I want to talk about here and then get you guys' opinions on is I'm going to just read this part here, because there's a frequently asked questions portion of this. And one of the things they ask is, do I need to own high school years to use sexual orientation? No, absolutely not. Sexual orientation will be available to all Simmers upon the release of High School Years. So there's a new pack coming out called High School Years. However, anyone who plays The Sims will now have the option to have sexual orientation, no matter what. It's part of the base game, so everybody's getting it. The other thing they say is, why are there only 2 gender options? The response is, this is a natural question to ask, given that we just recently released a pronouns update, which they did, which I think we talked about. And it says, I'll try to be very transparent with this one. This is due to technical limitations. As stated above, mechanically, non-binary Sims don't yet exist in The Sims 4. You still have to make a binary gender selection for your Sim at creation, regardless of pronoun settings. We hope that we've shown our community to, our commitment, to improving representation of gender identities with features such as gender customization, which allows you to modify physical frame, clothing preferences, pregnancy, and toilet use options. We look at the pronouns update as another important step toward better representation of non-binary genders, but we also acknowledge that pronouns are not the same thing as gender identities. The Sims 4 is 8 years old at this point, and reliant on systems that were originally architected with a gender binary in mind. In the intervening years, we've taken important steps such as gender customization, pronouns, and now sexual orientation. It's a journey still in progress with many more steps to go. Proper mechanical systems to fully support non-binary Sims is another step in that journey. So if anyone's wondering why you can only choose male or female, that's the answer why. It's strictly technical according to them. Another excuse me, oh my god. Another question is, can you manually change your Sim sexual orientation after creation? The answer is yes. How will this impact my game if I don't change the sexual orientation settings? If you don't change it, if you change none of the sexual orientation settings, your Sim will romantically behave as they currently do prior to the release of the feature. So if you don't want to make any changes, if you want them to love who they want to love as they usually do, you have that option. They'll act as they are. The one thing I do want to talk about here, that I did want to mention, is their response to the question, which is... Hey, stop it. Anyway, sorry. I'm so sorry, listeners. The response to the question, can I turn this feature off? They said, quote, no, period. While we try to give players the option to toggle certain gameplay features, LGBTQIA plus identities are a fact of life and not a toggle to be switched on and off. End quote. So yeah, let's talk about it. The Sims 4 now allows you to select a sexual orientation. They apologize that it's binary. However, they're working on making it non-binary, and they have flat out said you cannot turn this feature off because LGBTQIA plus people exist. It is a fact, and we support them. How do you guys feel about this news on The Sims 4?
You're the only one who plays The Sims, Drew.
I think you're the only one.
Yeah.
No. I know that I'm the only one who plays The Sims, but even the affirmation of the question of can I turn this feature off, and their response of no because LGBTQIA identities exist and this is a thing and this is something we're going to support. I don't think that there are very many video games companies that have said anything like this in response to a frequently asked question, and I think that's worth a conversation of how you guys feel about even the response to that, because that is to me, that's a very big deal. I don't think there's ever been a video game where they've just flat out said LGBTQIA identities exist. It is a part of our game. You can't remove it, even if you want to. It's gonna happen no matter what. And this is just who we are. And as far as The Sims goes, I don't even play The Sims currently. Like, not even gonna lie, I don't play The Sims currently at all. But for them, it's a surprising statement to me to put in a frequently asked questions portion of a video game response from a company like EA. And also the opportunity that if you don't want this to happen, you can still not choose it, and that inherently your Sims are not stuck on a binary choice of sex or romantic relationship between male and female. And so do you guys have any thoughts at all on their response, or if not, I can totally move on.
I mean, yeah, I think the response was good. It's nice to see them just being so blunt about it. Like, no, you can't turn this off. Why would you want to? I mean, it sounds like a pretty cool update. Anyways, I don't know anything about The Sims. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to say words.
No. That's totally fine.
Yeah, no, I think the response is really good. I think that to see someone be actually convicted and say no, and I guess if you don't like it, don't play our game. I don't know. I mean, essentially that's what I'm getting.
It is. Yeah, and I think that's great because how many companies do that? How many video games companies have just been we support this. If you don't like it, don't play our game. Maybe 2 or 3 that I can think of off the top of my head. Kristie or Brandon, anything before I move on?
Not too much more. I'm very happy that they made that statement. I'm happy that first off, I'm happy that they went into detail about all that they're adding in terms of inclusivity. I really appreciate the transparency and the gender identity thing. We want to, but we're updating this 8-year-old ass game, so there's only so much we can do. I know there's going to be a lot of people who just don't understand that, and that's unfortunate, but it's clearly something that they at least attempted to do. It's crazy that this game's been updated for 8 years. I mean, it feels like it's time to update to the next. I mean, I'm no expert on The Sims, but I feel like it's probably time to start updating to the next one, especially if you're going so far into making inclusivity. I feel like making another game would be just to go, it would be the next logical step, so you can actually go all the way that you're trying to do. I feel like all the steps that they're doing now could just make the next Sims just that much better, because it would be based on a more a better system that could better include all the things they want to do with it.
Completely agree with you. So the next story is kind of funny. Actually, you know what? It's not funny. It's kind of sad. Well, to some people, it would be kind of sad. You know what? I'm just going to tell you guys because I see that you're confused. So, Hagure Idol Jigokuen, which is Booty Royale by Takata Rui, will end in 2 chapters for now. as the artist ends his manga career for now. Reason is that his family situation doesn't allow him to continue drawing such an explicit manga. So that's what was like sad news for some people, interesting news for others. He came out in a thread of translation. He said, "I will retire in the very near future. I've been planning to do this since last year because I have a family situation that will prevent me from drawing a monthly manga featuring tits and sex for the time being. I won't go into details because it would affect my own and my family's privacy. I've been planning this since last year, and now that I have a good prospect of changing jobs, I will be taking a leave of absence from manga artist Takatao Rui for the time being. I'm proud to say that Higuri Idol Jikukuken has been loved by everyone and has always sold well. And I am proud that it is a good softcore pornography and martial arts manga. But this manga is not something I would show to my family." There's more, but I'll stop it there. Was this the right thing to do? His family clearly, I don't know, clearly something happened. I don't know if his wife was just like, "Look, we got kids, you can't be drawing tits and fighting all the time," or it sold well, so I feel like
these kids are paying the bills. Like, come on.
I mean, if it's paying the bills,
sex work is work.
It really is.
So yeah, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I have some thoughts. First off, Gabe
work is work and it pays the bills.
Gabe on chat says anime boobs are greater than family values.
I feel like if the anime boobs are selling well,
they are selling well.
I kind of agree with Gabe if the anime boobs are selling well.
So let me preface.
I mean, if they pay the bills and they make you happy,
but I guess he didn't want his kids to see it. I guess, like, you don't want your kids to, like, go to school and, like, "What's your dad do?" "Oh, let me show you." And they pull out.
But it already exists. He's already been doing it. So
you know what? You're right. So you may as well keep going.
His kids will go on Google and we'll still see it. So there's really...
Might as well keep going.
There's really no point.
Might as well keep going. What I was going to say was, let me preface this by saying that... Well, hold on. That I agree with what Kelly said. That sex work is work, you got, as long as you're not hurting one and you're paying your bills, it's all good. Now, that being said, I will say, now that I've made that preface, a lot of people that do get into, like, the work of either, like, drawing or producing pornography or any kind of sex work, usually two things it happens. One, they don't have a close relationship with their family, especially if their family's, like, super religious. Like, they're just probably just not into that stuff. Or two, their family is super supportive and they'll just... Like, I think there's a YouTuber, I think Kristie might know her. Her name is Aki Dearest. I think she has, like, not familiar. Okay, anyway, she has, like I think, like, a page where she sells pics or something, like bikinis or whatever. And, like, she literally texted her, she did a tweet where she, like, texted her mom saying, like, "These guys, I made this much money just selling pics of my feet." And her mom was just like, "Nice." So that's the example of the latter. So some families are supportive of it, and that's cool. Now, obviously, in this situation, the fact that he felt he had to retire because it's something he wanted to show his kids, it demonstrates that maybe his family just wasn't as cool with it, despite it paying the bills, right? And in this case, he said, "You know what? For my family, I'll stop." And it's interesting that he even has that option, I guess, because usually once you're on that path, you just don't go back from it. Like,
I mean, it's like he said that he got another job, so.
Well, if you got another job, I mean, there's that. That's something. But
does
like,
it pay the same? That's the question. Does it pay the same?
It's just like, I gave up my high selling manga for a job that's not paying as much. I don't know, familia. This might be a problem, but I guess good on him for choosing his family. It's unfortunate that he just couldn't do both, especially since it was seemed to be really popular. But you do what you got to do, I guess, and hopefully it's the right choice for him and his family. We don't really know. Yeah.
The only thing I can think is that, like, he's trying to write these panels and draw this stuff, and his kids just keep walking in the room while he's doing it. And, like, that's the only thing I'd be like, this is not working out. if they keep doing this, I can't draw the boobs and go feed my kids. That's weird. Like, you gotta separate the two. Like, you can't think of what your kids need while you're trying to draw anime boobies. That's the only thing I can think of. Maybe it was really just like a, it's consuming too much of his life or something like that. I don't know.
Gabe just like on chat said in quotation marks, "Wow, is that a drawing of mom?"
And there's your problem, and that's why he has to stop. You see, that's why he can't continue on his manga journey, because the kids. That's what what this means. Just don't have kids. This is the kids are the problem. Don't have children, and then you wouldn't have these issues. I would say a quote that Gabe usually says, but he's not here, so I'll leave
he will probably put it on chat very soon, and if he doesn't, Gabe, if you put it on chat, I will read it for you. That's all I'm saying.
So
there it is. Hold on. There it is. He put it on chat. I'll do it in the best Michael Jordan voice I can. Fuck them kids.
And there you go. That's all it is. If you didn't have them, you would be able to continue to have your job. So the Halo Infinite co-op beta is live. After a long wait, Halo fans can finally try out Halo Infinite's campaign and co-op with the game's new beta. This was on July 15th. You can officially squad up with friends and play the campaign network co-op as much as you want. So this is the first time that a Halo game had been released without co-op, and it's only in the beta phase this late after its release. So some people have been not very happy with the way that Microsoft has handled this. However, other people are saying, better late than never. So Halo Infinite, as we know, was pushed back as well after its initial preview. So yeah, I personally, I think this is like the second Halo game I've ever played. I don't want to play through the campaign and co-op anymore. It's too late. I literally am done with that game. When did it come out? Like late
last year, didn't it?
December, I think.
Something like
November.
that.
November. Yeah.
So we're like 4 months away from it being a year out before you finally get co-op campaign. Honestly, I personally only play co-op campaign when I'm playing Halo. Like, I don't play single player campaign because, like, that's just me. I would rather have more fun playing with friends. So this update, not only do I think it's too late, it just doesn't even entice me to try to go back and play now. It's almost a year later. And so my question to you guys is, do you think it's too late? Is it a better late than never type of situation? Do you think that games like, for example, The Last of Us 2 also came out without its co-op? However, its co-op is going to be a completely different game with a whole new story and a bunch of more stuff. So it's a huge build-up as opposed to just adding a co-op campaign into Halo Infinite. Oh no!
What happened?
So, anyone who's watching or listening, Kelly's cat just turned her computer off, so that's why she's frozen. So she'll be back. Her cat literally just yanked the computer and cut her off. But yeah, so Kelly, Brandon, how are we feeling about this? The co-op campaign coming almost a year later.
I will represent Kelly for now. I hope I represent.
I did say Kelly. Kristie and Brandon, I'm so sorry. Kristie and Brandon, how are you guys feeling about this one?
I mean, better late than never, I guess.
So I guess I'm a little bit in the middle, if I'm gonna be real. Like, factually, yes, better late than never, because you can't. People really wanted this, so if they just never put it in, I think it would be disappointing. But you're absolutely right, Jerome. I think for a lot of people, it is too late. That hey, she's back. Welcome back.
She's back. Yay!
Anyway, as I was saying, for a lot of people, it is going to be too late because, that game came out almost a full year ago and they've been waiting patiently, and they probably at that time really wanted to do the campaign co-op, but, all that the interest just wanes and wanes and wanes until it's just completely gone. And now people just they've moved on to something else at this point. But then there are some people who just were like, all right, I'll wait as long as it takes. But at that point, it's just like, everything with Halo Infinite is just so weird because, it's a game that just, they needed this to come out. I understand, because this was like the killer app for like the Xbox Series S and X, right? So they just needed this to come out, and it was good on them to even do one delay, because we said that like many podcasts ago that it was bold of them to even delay it outside of the Xbox Series X launch, Series S launch, because like what do you launch with now? You've launched a big console with no killer app, with that being Halo, but they did it anyway because they knew the game needed it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's still released incomplete. Not in terms of like bugs or anything like that. I don't think there's any like serious bugs in the game, but obviously there's just features missing that have been in other Halo games on day one. So it's kind of like, it was kind of a no-win situation. That game just needed to come out, but at the same time, it released in a state that just, you know, it was missing something core that I think a lot of people care about. All my friends personally that play Halo, they did the campaign co-op. They don't, like you, Jarrell, they don't care about playing the campaign solo. I think I have one friend that plays campaign solo. The rest of them, they wait for them, hey, oh, you free? And then they'll just like take a weekend or a week and just play co-op until they finish the story. So I got to actually check with them to see how they're feeling about this, if they're going to go back to it now, because they were waiting, but I don't know if they're still waiting, you know?
I mean, it's almost a year later.
Right.
I feel like that they're trying to capture those players who held off on buying because there wasn't any co-op.
There is that too. That for everyone that's like gonna not go back to the game, there are a subset of people who were holding off on buying the game, period, until they added it. So
I disagree with you both, because the game was and probably still is on Game Pass like day one. So if you already had Game Pass, you've already played it. Like, there's no need to like hold off on buying it, because let's be real, if you have an Xbox, you probably have Game Pass.
You know, that's fair. That is
more
fair.
likely than not. In which case, you could have just played the game when it first came out. Now, of course, like that doesn't mean that you guys are wrong, because of course there might be people who still haven't purchased it. I ain't buy it. I played the multiplayer for a little bit. Kelly played it a little bit longer than me. I haven't gone back. I don't know if Kelly's gone back. This is not going to make me go back. I had my fun with it. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going back for this. Though I did really enjoy it when it first came out.
I remember.
I was playing ranked a lot, though, and it got pretty sweaty, so I was like, you know what? Why am I trying so hard right now? But I mean, I don't think I would go back. But I wasn't really going to play the campaign. I'm not the
anyway, me either, honestly. Like, I was not going to play the campaign unless it was co-op and like anyone asked me to. But if nobody asked me to, I wasn't gonna play it by myself anyway. So like, this doesn't affect me at all.
It's funny. Like, I haven't really gotten deep into Halo. Like, I played a good amount of one. I've dabbled in a little bit of all the Halos just because friends had them and I would play multiplayer with them. In terms of campaign, though, I've only really like gone deeply into the first one, and that's not just like a lack of interest. Oh, I guess it is because I didn't get the rest of them, but also because I didn't get the Xbox. But all that to say, I'm the weirdo who actually does like really care about campaign in these shooter games, especially like Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 like has probably one of the best campaigns I've ever seen in a first-person shooter. It's immaculate. It's like, its level design is amazing.
I don't play first-person shooters, so there's that.
Well, let's
the
move
last
on.
time I tried to was Call of Duty with my friend, and I just I found a corner to hide, and that was about it.
So let's
I was sniping people.
Tattoos. Let's talk about some tattoos. Yeah. Blizzard is giving out Diablo 4 beta keys to fans who get themed tattoos, because like that's a thing.
Kelly's face is like, I'm gonna get one this weekend.
Kelly, you better fucking not. Over the weekend, Blizzard began a tour that will see them take over select tattoo shops in 8 locations across the US, UK, Germany, and Australia between July 16th and September 10th. Winners of a social media competition, which has long since come and gone, sadly, have been invited to receive bespoke tattoos that draw inspiration from the Diablo universe from one of the 8 big names in tattoo artistry that Blizzard is partnering with for the event. If you're not a competition winner, you can queue up on the day to pick one of several relatively discreet pre-drawn or flash tattoos. So essentially what happens is you go in, you pick a flash tattoo based on Diablo, you get a Diablo for early access key. You gotta pay for it. This is so strange to me. Like,
they're trying to generate goodwill because
this is not goodwill.
They're trying to pretend that, they don't have pending court cases. That's what
but
it is.
This isn't even goodwill to me. Like this, I don't think this is goodwill. Goodwill is giving people keys. This is not goodwill. I have to pay to get a permanent tattoo to get a key for a game. That is not goodwill at all. Like, what?
I mean, you can get a tattoo and then get it removed. They don't have to know.
But isn't that more money?
How much money that's gonna cost? Like, no, you might as well just wait and buy the game. Like, none of this is good. I mean, in fairness, the tattoos are not that bad. Like, I'll show anyone who's watching. They're not horrible. Like, they're kind of small. So I would say palm size. They're not stand out-ish. Like, if you got it, you could totally play it off as whatever you wanted to.
So what
that's a big commitment for a game key.
That is a big commitment. So I was gonna say that's more for the person that was already going to get a Diablo tattoo and now
Diablo
has extra incentive.
yes.
Yeah. So for those people, this is nothing but good news. But for everyone else, like, you're asking people to get a tattoo just so you can get a key for your game. It's like
that they still gotta go pay for it later. By the way,
that's right.
Like,
you're paying the tattoo fee and then the full game later. Again, unless you're getting on Game Pass, I guess.
I mean, it's creating buzz for the game, and it's going to get people into the game. I think it's a great marketing tactic, to be honest with you. Yeah. And like, yeah, who's going to line up to get a Diablo tattoo except for people who already wanted a Diablo tattoo? I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting. Okay. Have you heard of another marketing campaign like this?
No.
Tattoos?
Exactly. So, like, I
feel like I've heard it, like, I feel like I've heard it maybe once before. Yeah. Like, I've heard the, like, get a tattoo of a game type scheme, or, like, name your baby after the game type thing. But, you're very correct. Before. Like, I can't think of, like, off the top of my head, go get a tattoo and get a beta key.
Yeah, I think it's honestly kind of genius marketing. I feel like it's something to be part of, too. Like, oh, man, like, I got this fucking Diablo tattoo to get a beta. Like, people get tattoos of, like, really dumb stuff now, so.
Fair.
I feel like, it's not the dumbest thing you could get a tattoo of.
Fair. And they don't look bad. I will say they don't look bad. Like, in fairness, if I was there is a chance that I might actually get one.
I would get one, like, just because it's like, all right, we're here, let's do it. Exactly. But I'm guessing it's not going to be like,
but also to be fair, you do not only do you get the Diablo 4 beta key, you also do get a promise of a free digital copy of the game when it releases. So
so definitely getting
and early access. Okay. So you get a tattoo, you get the game, and you get early access.
Worth it.
Well, I guess it also depends on their tattoo artist rate as well, too.
Yeah, that is true.
Can I just get it like tiny? They're like $100 for it, like bigger, and I'm like, shrink it a little. Shrink it a little.
Like a $25 tattoo.
Hey, Blizzard, you didn't say how big it has to be. Here's the microscope. Do your thing.
Yeah, but this article does not mention. The article doesn't mention whether you have to pay for a tattoo. Oh, you know what? Yes, it does. Here it is from the tweet. This just keeps getting better. My opinion of this has completely changed.
Okay.
So you can actually get a free Diablo Flash tattoo. So I take it back. You get the tattoo for free. You get the game for free. It is actually a brilliant marketing strategy.
Because that's why they're so simple, because they're not going to do some intricate, crazy thing
for free.
Free.
You're not getting a whole ass loot goblin for free.
Road trip!
Let's go! And then we all get to play Diablo 4 early.
But can you imagine? The line is going to be crazy. We're going to need a necromancer.
Oh, yeah. Over. Yeah, I'll be the druid. So, Hungry Box. Pretty famous Smash player.
Mm-hmm.
Hungry
Jigglypuff main.
What'd you say, Brandon?
He's the Jigglypuff main in the Smash games he plays.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yes, Kelly, yes. Yeah, Hungry Box. He's been permanently banned from all future St. Louis can't say that. Melee events for Super Smash Bros. Melee. Do you want to know why?
Why, exactly? I don't know.
He was previously... so he went to a professional... He's a professional esports player. Mm-hmm. He attended a tournament while sick with a respiratory illness. He went on his Twitter, I think it was his Twitter, And he posted how he was coughing up blood, but he had to go back to the arena because he had to go play. He was coughing up blood on the morning of the event. He said it was not. His quote was, "I definitely woke up this morning and threw up blood. Went to urgent care at 6 a.m. They said it's COVID or a bacterial infection. I got antibiotics and steroids via a shot." He knew all this, and then the same day went and competed. And people were not very happy because not only did you post this on, your Twitter so that everyone knows about it, you also put everyone at risk. Huh?
There's liability issues with that all around, depending on what he signed before. Always read the fine print, guys.
He was seen without a mask several different times throughout the day. He eventually disqualified himself at the event. And here's a quote that he said later on, which says, "It goes without saying I did a super fuck up today, and it was incredibly selfish of me. I shouldn't think I'm above the rules. While I was convinced I didn't have COVID, it was clear I was sick in some capacity. Deciding to play or even go to the venue was a massive mistake. I'm not half-assing mask protocols anymore. Today was a necessary lesson, and I hate that it took me this long to give it the proper attention." That was his eventual tweet later on, because he did delete his first tweet, but it looks like it doesn't matter because the community was quick to condemn him, doubled down on condemning his behavior, and he has, as of this writing at thegamer.com, written by Justin Reeve, been permanently banned from future Melee events in St. Louis.
Rip.
Thoughts on this one?
I mean, if it was in the rules, it's in the rules.
Yeah.
You're not above the rules unless you have tons of money. And you can buy your way out, but if you post it on socials and everything, well, you gotta act.
Yeah.
Bitch, if you coughing up blood and you come stand by me and touch the same controller as me, bitch, what the fuck is wrong with you? No, that is not okay. You're lucky that you didn't get your ass beat. Because where I'm from,
he's very lucky that he didn't get banned in more places than St. Louis.
That's
exactly.
The least of your problems is going to be a respiratory issue when they done what you here, buddy.
Yeah,
you're going to be in the hospital for multiple things because what the fuck?
There's going to be blood coming out of more holes than just your mouth.
Literally.
So here's a interesting little thing I have to ask real quick though. It said he's banned from Melee tournaments in St. Louis. Is there a loophole that he can do ultimate matches in St. Louis? What if he has there's a tournament in St. Louis, I can't do Melee, I guess I'm gonna have to just play ultimate. I don't know.
I mean, more than likely they would have banned him from the tournament.
That would make more sense, but if they said just Melee, Hungry Box hey, I'm here to play ultimate. What's going on? Let's play. Whatever.
Also, who does this? If I coughed up blood and I had an event,
people who think that they're above the rules, Jarrell. There are people who think that they're above the rules that we see all the time.
Oh my god, so Gabe confirmed my question. He says, technically yes, because Smash events are separated from each other by title. So he could just go into an ultimate tournament in St. Louis. He just can't play Melee there. Oh man, wow. That's crazy.
You know what else is crazy?
What is crazy, Jarrell?
Elon Musk says that we should see Steam running on Tesla soon. Bro, I don't understand society. You know what? Yes, I do, because I'm gonna buy a Tesla and then I'm just gonna arrive to every event early so that I can just play video games in my car on my Steam in the car, and I might not even get out. You know what? I'm at the event and I'm having more fun in my car playing Steam on my Tesla big ass screen. So I think I'm just.
Can you imagine just rolling up to your boy's party and then it's like, why has this car been out there for an hour? It's like, guys, Tales of Arise is so good, I can't leave.
No, honestly, people
in the Tesla, come on.
Can you imagine people are leaving the party and they're all getting into the Tesla to play on the game?
That sounds like one of those Nintendo Switch ads where the Karen brought the Switch to the rooftop party and then everyone just stopped what they're doing and played Switch.
Honestly, I was about to talk shit about this story and I take it all back.
There it is. See?
I was in a Tesla recently, and yeah, I would totally play a game on that screen.
You know what we still have?
Awesome.
Just make sure you don't get yourself locked out in driving. That's just
Yeah.
it.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You know what we still don't have? At least not officially, but we still don't have, like... Do you guys remember in the original Nintendo Switch reveal all the way back in 2016, two guys got in the back of the car to play Mario Kart, and they put like this like attachment where they like hooked the Switch into like a hook in the back so they could like play Mario Kart in the back seat while someone was driving. That
sounds familiar, yeah.
That has not been officially released. There's like some third party people that have made their own versions of that where you can just like hook your Switch into like this little thing there, but yeah, it doesn't officially exist. Where is it, Nintendo? I want to play Mario Kart in the backseat of a car, except I don't because I get car sick. So there's that.
I am concerned because I know gamers like playing their games. I've seen people playing their mobile games while driving. It is not something you should be doing.
No, not while driving. No, never.
Chatting while driving.
I can totally imagine someone's skimming through their Steam library at a stoplight and not paying attention.
Well,
so don't do that.
Tesla, I know that with Teslas, you're able to watch Netflix. However, I think that you're not able to drive if you have Netflix on.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, more than likely, it might be the same thing.
What if Elon Musk announces you can attach your Xbox Series X to your Tesla and use smart delivery and quick resume time? Like one red light, you're playing Halo, play Halo on one red light, and then you quick resume to go to your Forza game.
Might as well.
Might as well.
Play Forza in your car, because why not? That's what it's made for. So Grounded, the game that if you'd like to see a review on, you can go to hpcritical.com, written by the lovely Kelly here, is the latest video game that is being adapted as a TV series. The Xbox video game, which was inspired by A Bug's Life and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, is being adapted by Star Wars: The Clone Wars writer Brent Friedman. It's from Deadline Hollywood. I'm gonna defer to Kelly and Brandon on this one because Brandon has watched all of the Clone Wars, which if you'd like to see a lovely guide on what episodes you should watch and you should skip to get caught up, there is an article at hpcritical.com written by Brandon himself. Many articles all about Star Wars: The Clone Wars guide on what to watch and what to skip, so go ahead and check that out. And as far as I mentioned, Grounded, you can check out Kelly's article. So Brandon and Kelly, I will defer to you two. How are we feeling about this one?
I just don't know that there's like enough content, and if
to
they're
make a
going
movie,
with
right?
Yeah,
That's
if
what
they're going kind of, they can't use the same story. They'll have to use something else. But like, it kind of was like this little thing. It's not. I don't know. It's not one of those games where they created a universe. You know, it's almost like this happened from what the little bit I know about the story, because I don't think the game is even released yet.
I think it's coming.
It's coming, yeah.
The Xbox thing is finally releasing.
But like, for me, it's not really a universe. It's like you get shrunk down. There's some stuff that happens, and obviously you're going to solve the mystery of why and all of this stuff. But like, that to me doesn't scream like there's a universe big enough to like make more content. But I really liked the game. It's got great graphics. I mean, a 7-foot tall, well, I don't know, it's probably bigger than that, but like a 7-foot tall wolf spider coming at you full speed, it's probably like the most terrifying thing on the planet for me. So I think that it's like got potential to have like cool stuff, but I just don't know what they're going to do with it. But I think there's potential. It's just like, I don't think a universe has been kind of like set up for this.
You know, I literally, when I read this, I was like, how is this just not what the game was inspired? Like, how is this movie not just going to be what the game was already inspired by, which is like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Like, how is this going to be any different from basically just a remake of that in a different sense? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brandon, because you are very familiar with the creators. So
the creator, yes, but I will admit right now that I'm not familiar too much with his work outside of Clone Wars. But if I am going based on his writing with Clone Wars specifically and how he could deal with this subject matter, he there has been episodes where he's done plots in Clone Wars similar to what Grounded does. How I envision it is because, again, he's dealt with episodes of that, and he's also dealt with some episodes of Clone Wars that straight up dealt with horror, like especially in season 2. There's just some horror episodes going on there. Yeah, Kristie knows exactly what I'm talking about. She recently watched the series herself. But yeah, so how I envision a grounded movie is probably going to be maybe sort of more so kind of like with Brett Freeman writing it, more like kind of like a lighthearted horror movie, if that makes sense. Like, I don't foresee something like extremely gory or anything like that. I see something that's just meant to scare you because there's a lot of creepy crawlies coming at you. But I envision kind of like a PG-13 like horror movie, something along those lines, something that could like be scary but not like super like gory. I think the story can be done, but like Kelly said, there's not really much of a universe there. So there's a lot of when there's a game that comes out that doesn't have like a lot of established story, that does allow for a lot of creative freedom in what you can do with it, because there's not too much you're going against, I suppose.
Kelly, do you know off the top of your head? I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
No, I am done.
Kelly, do you know off the top of your head the rating for that game?
I think it's pretty high. I mean, I can look.
Oh no, I mean like the ESRB rating, like T for teen and E for everyone. Sorry. Because I think
probably T or E. I don't imagine it's an M.
I think so. I just want to know if it's either E or T, because I think that game is like essentially for kids. Is it not? I could be wrong. I've never played it. It doesn't matter. Let me know if you find out. But in the meantime, I'm going to move on because we're running out of time and I got a few more stories for you. So Ubisoft artist says, entitled gamers make game launches a horrid experience. This is from The Gamer, written by Vlad Mazanko. And Joe Hobbs, lead prop artist at Ubisoft Anarchy, shared his thoughts on Twitter. He wrote that the devs who are public about the titles they're involved in often receive verbal abuse from fans, which has led to employees who won't even say what they do because of being scared of the immediate backlash. On top of that, streamers and content creators that thrive on overreacting to things for views make things worse. Oh my god, is he talking about me? No, he's
not. Overreact.
No, I know. That was a joke. He's clearly not talking about me. If I do overreact, you guys won't know about it because I'll post it in our Slack chat. Like, viewers won't know.
Never.
I do have lots of opinions, but most of them are validated, I think. His tweet says, it's really sad that so many people are... it was a reply to a tweet that said, I agree, it's pushed me off social media to the point I avoid saying anything about what I work on. His reply was... It's really sad that so many people are of the same mind and no one can blame any of them. We could be a much more open industry, but people suck. He went on to say players want the devs to be more open and communicative, only to throw demands and threats at them when they do. Additionally, such fans are always completely ignorant of how games are made and aim their anger at the wrong people. We've low-key talked about this a little bit. And he says the sad fact is most game devs go on complete social media blackout for weeks following the launch of whatever they've worked on, and I'd heavily advise it. Get some rest, recharge after the push to shipping the game. People will say toxic stuff no matter what you do. And, we've all seen it. Literally, I can talk about, an instance with Final Fantasy VII Remake and some of the crazy-ass fans that have literally pushed some of the developers to just not talk about the game, like, whatsoever, because as soon as you mention something, there are just demands, like, this is what the game should be, this is what I like, this is what I am into, why are you doing this, why are you doing that, especially for something Pokemon. Yeah, Pokemon's another one, which is, where's my favorite Pokemon, you suck, blah, 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 blah. It's just a thing that happens. Any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, it is unfortunately something that happens a lot. I really can't blame them for wanting to, not talk about their job or going on these social media blackouts, because I think on the whole, a lot of people that play games do appreciate what they're given and whatnot. It's unfortunate, though, that the ones who are the loudest are the ones that are so negative and the ones that say the worst part of things. It's hard to not look at it because they say such awful things directly to you when you're just trying to do the best you can, and that's awful. And it's always gonna happen. And so it's unfortunate that people who love their jobs don't feel like they have the freedom to talk about it, because such people that are either ignorant about the process, it is almost entirely ignorance, just to be clear. Because like you said, they blame the wrong person for something that they don't necessarily like. what is this dialogue doing here? Is like, bro, I'm the art designer. I don't have anything to do with the narrative, like stuff like that. So it's awful. And even if you were placing your blame on the correct person, you don't have the right to like disrespect these people like that are just doing their best, man. It's just not okay.
Yeah, and he did mention like streamers and content creators that overreact to stuff. I think that's also a really big one because it like in fairness to those creators, those content creators, a lot of times overreactions are what's going to get you the views, right? Like those really big like, oh, this let me tell you why this game sucks, right? Like let me tell you why this is a shitty product, and you know people are going to click on those, like why you shouldn't buy this, why this developer said this, let me tell you what it means, and like it's a really big clickbaity like totally out of context sometimes. Exactly. Totally out of context sometimes, and that overreaction is what really gets the viewer. So it's gonna happen, but at the end of the day, you know, there are people behind this that you're, you know, affecting, and I don't know how they do it. I had somebody like send an email once to me left a comment about something that I wrote, and like essentially they called me dumb, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna go cry. And that was a comment on an article that I wrote about an opinion that I had about Kingdom Hearts. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know why you so mad, bro. Like I just said it shouldn't have this. I'm sorry. I can't imagine spending. And
tell me who's the commenter. I got something for him. Who wrote it? Let me hear.
I have to go look.
All right. Let me know after the podcast. I will sheathe my sword.
But I feel like that with social media, some people, they're able to hide behind a screen, and so it enables them to become very bold and say those horrible things, even though they know that this is an actual human being that they're saying it to.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, my thought is this article took me like an hour or two to write. I can only imagine putting 4 or 5 years into a product just for somebody to yell at me about it. Like, that's why I couldn't. I think, don't go on social media. That's probably why I would stay away, because I don't think I would be very nice at that point. If you feel that way, bitch, don't play the fucking game. Leave me alone. That's it. Like, and it just escalates. Don't fucking tweet me. Like, but that's why I'm not a video game developer. Anyway, moving right along, we're almost done here. I have a few more stories for you, and then we're gonna be right out of here. T Grizzly, a rapper, reveals that he makes well over $200,000 a month from playing GTA. He created a lane for his friends that were actively in the streets, make money online with him. So some of them say they're now making around $20K a month, the legal way. The only way. Shout out to you. Let me come play GTA with you and make $20K a month, please. Teach me your ways. Like I
would love to make that much money playing GTA. Are you kidding?
I will literally go on the street. Never mind.
Hold on.
Well, okay, I feel like now I should finish that because I don't want it to come out misconstrued. I was gonna say I would literally go on the streets and be a gangbanger so he could pick me up and like take me away from that life.
Let's not misconstrue
so
this.
Make $20K. you know, you're right. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I respect you. I respect you. You're true to the streets.
God, that shouldn't be vocal.
I'm just saying, if he wants to keep people out of the streets, I'll go to the streets so he can find me and keep me off of them. All right. So
this is getting worse. Continue.
Yeah, no. I am completely done. Minecraft, one of the biggest games in the world, has completely rejected NFTs. Oh my gosh. Here's a quote. It says, each of these uses of NFTs and other blockchain technologies creates digital ownership based on scarcity and exclusion, which does not align with Minecraft values of creative inclusion and playing together. NFTs are not inclusive of all our community and create a scenario of the haves and the have-nots. The speculative pricing and investment mentality around NFTs takes the focus away from playing the game and encourages profiteering, which we think is inconsistent with the long-term joy and success of our players. How are we feeling about that, Square? I mean, how are we feeling about that, you guys?
Damn. Yeah, I wonder why that one slipped out. Whoops. Anyway, yeah, no. First off, besides the fact that it's awesome for them to say this, it really is. It does make sense with the way they run their business. You know, Minecraft has always been a game that's accessible for everyone. Like they said, it's about getting all the materials yourselves, building what you like, making it the way you want. They're right. Even if NFTs weren't bad, I think it would go against what they're trying to build. Having this unique thing that supposedly no one else can get to build your world in Minecraft, it runs counter to their whole mission statement, I feel. So good on them.
This reminds me, because we talked about it before, I think, about how, like, there was, like, child labor issues and, like, kids that spend a lot of time on Minecraft, right? Like, all I can see is that, all I can imagine is these kids buying NFTs by accident and destroying their parents' bank accounts for nothing, because NFTs are nothing. And all of this just goes downhill. So I think, even if they didn't mean it, this is the only way to, like, if I was Minecraft, no, we're not doing NFTs. I can only imagine the lawsuits that come from this in the future. Like, there's no way I would invest in this at all. So I think it's a good idea for them.
Yeah. Business-wise, it also makes sense. Yes.
But also, like, morally.
Morally and businessly. That's not a word. But anyway.
It is now.
It is now. We created words live on the podcast. That's why you guys should follow us and listen every week. So because you learn new vocabulary every single episode. So, you know.
This is the businessly episode.
It's entertaining and educational.
Boom. Yeah, so Kelly, Kristie, anything on NFTs and Minecraft? No, we're good. All right, well, here's something for you. Discord. Discord voice is now coming to Xbox. You can hang out with your Discord friends on voice chat while playing console games. Personal, cozy, cross-platform voice chat is gradually rolling out now. Xbox insiders get early access, and it'll be coming to everyone later on. We do know that PlayStation purchased Discord a little while back, and now Xbox players get to integrate Xbox and Discord into their gameplay crossplay. Whoop-de-doo! So now we can all sit in a Discord call playing different games, crossplay, and talk to each other. Yay! And it's incorporated and integrated into the Xbox, so it's going to be really, really dope. Mm-hmm. You get to connect your Xbox account to your Discord in the similar manner that you would do to a PlayStation. You transfer your Discord call to the Xbox, and then you just chat with friends in a Discord call on your Xbox or PC. Mm-hmm. Well, as crossplay with PC friends. So that's a cool one. That's a new one. Anything on that one before I move on?
I don't have much to say about it. It's just cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It used to be like kind of a hard to like connect with your friends, not in game chat. Yeah. You know, so that will make it a lot easier.
You know, I think it's so interesting because it has become easier and easier with each generation to be able to connect. And I personally would probably only use Discord as a second option, even if it were on Xbox. Like, I would probably just use Xbox voice chat if I had the chance. However, I think it matters more for Xbox because of like Game Pass and the accessibility of playing between PC and Xbox. Like it is a much easier way to get everyone in the same call via Discord, as opposed to like PlayStation. Because on PlayStation, like literally, if we all play playing the same game, I don't see why we would ever go to Discord. We could just make a like PlayStation party and talk in there. But I do think it makes more sense for Xbox. Like, and it does make it an easier environment, especially for like crossplay. Anyway, so. There is an update coming out for what is this game called? What is this game called?
Describe the game.
But no, this Animal Crossing game. What is it called?
You're talking. Oh, no. There is not a new update coming to the Animal Crossing game. That is actually the point of this little mini discussion that I wanted to lead. So no, that is just a tweet that Nintendo put out saying that.
Okay, hey, yes, okay, that's what.
That if you're basically on the Animal Crossing official Twitter page, if you're like on the oh boy, Gabe is ready. He said Animal Crossing trash bin delivery. Let's go.
Oh my god.
Anyway, as I was saying. No, it's just a tweet from the Animal Crossing Twitter saying that, like, hey, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, we're right in the middle of the summer and whatnot, And this got me thinking because, that Animal Crossing Twitter is still regularly updated. But it's not regularly updated. The actual game itself, New Horizons, it has not received a substantial update. It got its final free update around late last year, around the time that we also got the Happy Home Designer, Happy Home Paradise paid DLC. And it got me thinking about the whole situation, because a lot of people would like to tell you otherwise, but I do not believe Animal Crossing New Horizons is a dead game. Obviously, it's nowhere near the peaks that it was back in 2020 when everybody and their mother was playing it, clearly. But if there's still an audience for that game, that people that really enjoy the game, that are still checking their town every day, still updating it, doing all that good stuff. But that really hasn't extended to content from Nintendo. Like, they've kind of just let the game stagnate, unfortunately. The updates came with the holidays, like the free updates. Hey, you can do this event, like the Christmas event, the Halloween event, the infamous Bunny Day event, but we won't talk too much about that one. The point is, it was updating regularly for a while, and then we got that big update that was led by Brewster, along with the Happy Home Paradise, and then the game just kind of, in terms of updates, died. But the mobile game, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, is still regularly updated. Now, that's to be expected from a mobile game, because mobile games live or die by how much they're updated, especially if it's like a live service gacha game, whatever. But it just seems mysterious to me that a game like Animal Crossing that did make them so much money, I think it's like, what is it, the top 3 or top 2 in like terms of like Switches? I know number 1 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but I thought Animal Crossing was like 2 or 3. I don't have the numbers on me at the moment, but I know it's high up there. And so it's weird that a game that literally lives and dies by how much you play it daily is not still getting these kind of regular updates. And I guess I just wanted to get an idea of how everyone felt about it, because I think all of us have at least played Animal Crossing a little bit.
So I will say, in fairness to Animal Crossing, they said that was the last update. So we all knew.
They did, yes. Well,
they were very upfront and said this is the last major free update. But I think they also alluded to, like, this is the last update that the game itself is going to get. So I'm not surprised that we're not getting any more updates for Animal Crossing, because they told us. They were like, we're done.
So I want to just follow up real quick. First off, my cousin Jeremiah says hello. Hi, Jeremiah. Thanks for coming. And second, yeah, you're right. They did very explicitly say the final free update. I guess it's more so, do you think they should have closed off that soon? Basically only a year after the game came out.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And the reason why... So, yes, I do. Like, okay, personally, no, I don't.
Okay.
But I think I would say that I understand why they would. Mm-hmm. And I think they've been upfront about the fact that they're not continuing, so I can't be upset with them, because they've already, they told us months ago, this is it, we're done, we're finished. And Happy Home Paradise brought a lot of content, a lot of extra content that could last you for at least a year, depending on how you play the game. But I think that, and this is just my speculation, business-wise, no one expected Animal Crossing to do what it did.
Oh, absolutely, I agree with that.
And I feel like when you have a game like Animal Crossing, you have a timeline. And you know what you plan on doing with that timeline. I think they've done what they planned on doing for the game's longevity, for the game's lifespan. And I think trying to force anything else into it because it's this popular or because you want it to last longer could potentially be detrimental to the game itself. Now, do I think that you should continue to update a game like Animal Crossing? Of course, because there are going to be people that are continuously playing it. However, that's going to cost money. Right now, the difference is, it's not like Animal Crossing is not a live service game like something like Diablo or Destiny or any other game, or like Final Fantasy. All these other games that are continuously being updated, they're continuously churning out money to get these updates. Right? Like, sure, Animal Crossing does have a lot of money, but in a year or two from now, where are these developers getting this money from to continue to update this game if no one else is continually buying it, right? Like, it's a game that has a start and a finish. We all reach the start. We all reach the finish. It has updates. You've already done the content, right? So they give you a DLC. You've done the DLC. We don't have anything else planned. Now, can we, scrap something together without shipping more units off? I'm sure we could, but, to me, it makes sense. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I think because it's not a game as a service, because it's not a games as a service model, they're not generating more revenue as they go along. Like, no one is. I saw the Animal Crossing New Horizons Switch in Target. Like, you can go buy that shit off the shelf. Like, no one's buying that anymore. It was a hot commodity at the time. Now you can go find it in any Target. Like, it's not like people are still buying this game. So they put a lot of effort and money into the DLC, into the updates that we did get. I think it is disappointing because for people that are going to continue to play this game for X amount of time, it sucks because you're going to be playing the same content over and over and over. However, you know, the difference, I'm talking too much, but the difference with a game like Animal Crossing, I think that people that do love it is we know what we're getting into. Like, I know when I log on what I'm going to do. I'm going to rearrange my island for like the 10th time. I'm going to keep trying to collect every recipe. That could take me years, like, you know, just because of the randomness of it. There are elements that allow players to stretch out the longevity of their game. And then I could go back to the whole conversation of we all kind of ruined the longevity of Animal Crossing New Horizons because we were all playing constantly all the time. And so what should have taken us a year or two to finish, we all did in like 6 months because we were all playing together and helping each other out and sharing things. And some of our friends are time traveling and they're giving us all the things that we need to progress. So something that would take you a week in game took 2-3 days for some people. Something that would take you a couple of months to finish took you 1 month to finish. You're able to build your libraries quicker. You're able to, like, just the community aspect did have all of us constantly playing this game that maybe we wouldn't have logged in every day to do as much. Like, that's all we were doing because we were stuck inside. Everyone's playing it. So, like, I defer back to, yeah, we all kind of just did too much with Animal Crossing at one time, and they've reached their timeline, like, of what they were going to do, and I don't think you should put out content for the sake of putting out content, because, like, what else could they do? Like, what else do you want them to, like, I mean, so they could go in and update some of the other updates that people don't like Bunny Day can be fixed, right? They can add more items for Chris. It does suck that, like, items are done. It does suck that there's no more updates to our houses. Like, there are still things that can be updated and added to the game, and it sucks that we're not getting that. I don't agree with the decision, but I understand it.
Okay. Any thoughts,
Okay.
Kristie or Kelly?
I mean, they didn't anticipate COVID to happen. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
And
everybody was just kind of stuck and playing, like what Jarrell said.
Yeah.
We just blazed through the content that they did not expect.
Yeah, as an extension of that, yeah, they didn't expect COVID, and as a result, they didn't expect the windfall of sales that would bring to them. So I to be clear, Jarrell, I do completely agree with you, and that, yeah, the Animal Crossing success, they always anticipate it would be a success. You don't put a game out to, like, fail, obviously, but they clearly didn't anticipate it was going to be as much of a success as it was. So like you said, they reached the end of their roadmap, and rather than reevaluate it, they just kind of, like, decided to stick with it for better or worse in that case. And it's just interesting. And, you know, again, I understand from a business point, but I'm definitely disappointed as well.
Yeah. Okay, so question, Kelly. So you were the last of us to get Animal Crossing. So you didn't play when everyone was doing all the craziness and blazing through the content. If you don't mind, how far are you in Animal Crossing, and how often are you playing it on your own?
I'm never playing it anymore. How far am I? I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know how to gauge how far I am.
Do you have, like, an actual house, or are you still in the tent?
Oh yeah, I have a house. I've met Blathers. Nook's Cranny is a real shop, and I also got the clothing shop.
Oh, cool.
So I have, like, that. I'm trying to think of other stuff. I have, like, lot of villagers now. Yeah, what?
But as far as, like, you're content with the game, you're really not going back to Animal Crossing anymore, right?
No, I haven't. Mostly because I got Fall Guys on my Switch. So
I haven't seen her play a lot of Fall Guys lately.
And so that, like, Kristie is a prime example of my point, right? Like, she bought the game later on. She's not even going to go through all the extra content that was added.
Yeah.
And you're not gaining, like, Animal Crossing, I think, is not going to gain any more traction or revenue of new players because they're adding more updates. They're just adding updates for the players that are already there, and they're not getting any type of revenue increase for doing that. And those of us that have played it, a lot of people are content with the time that they had during COVID. So a lot of people are not like, and I say a lot of people, that's me generalizing, but I haven't really seen people being like, why the fuck aren't you guys updating this game? I played it for 2 years. I want more. It's pretty much been like, I haven't logged into my island in like 6 months. Let me go do that. But, you know, it's not like there hasn't really been a demand for new content in Animal Crossing. Like when they said they weren't announcing new content, there was not like, oh my god, we need a petition. We want this. We want that. We need more. It was like all right, I'm kind of done with that game. So that makes sense. And I think that also kind of factors into it. Like, you know, Kelly's a prime example. She bought the game a little bit later than us, and she played what she wanted to out of it, and she's done with it. So if you're not getting new players from it, why would you continue to update it from a business standpoint? So yeah, I'm sorry. But I do love Animal Crossing. And I wish that they were, and this is the last thing I'm going to talk about, because I think that we're good on that one. Does anyone else have anything else?
We are good on that, and Gabe put on chat as soon as Kelly said that, Fall Guys supremacy is what he said.
Oh my god, of course. So the last one, because we're running a little bit over, but I do want to get this last story out, and we'll have all of them done. Game Pass finally gets its first Xbox exclusive of 2022 in July, and that is As Dusk Falls. It is the first game published by Xbox Game Studios this year. Crazy, right? This is from Kotaku.com, written by Ari Notice. It took a while. We're 7 months into the year, and Game Pass is only just getting its first-party offering of 2022, the narrative party game As Dusk Falls. But that's the only title en route to Microsoft's Game on Demand service. And then they do include a list of everything coming to Game Pass in the coming weeks. And it does go on to say the big selling point of Game Pass isn't just that you get instant access to a Netflix-style digital library containing hundreds of games. It's that you get every single first-party Xbox game, from tentpoles like Forza Horizon 5 to smaller fare like Obsidian's forthcoming Pentiment on their release date at no extra cost. However, 7 months into the year, the first title that this applies to is As Dusk Falls for 2022. We know that Xbox has a ton of things in the pipeline, and because they showed us during their Xbox presentation all the games that were coming first to Game Pass from their Xbox Game Studios. However, a lot of people have been asking, including me, over a couple of podcasts now for about the last year, since like E3 last year when they mentioned all the studio, or maybe it was 2 years ago actually at this point, when they mentioned all the studios that they acquired, where the games were and what they were bringing. And, you know, the hype from the Xbox conference has kind of really died down now. And the first game that we're getting is As Dusk Falls. How are we feeling about Xbox putting out As Dusk Falls 7 months into 2022 as the first and only game from their first-party titles? Studios, rather. And also, how are we feeling about Game Pass only having its first game come out 7 months into the year from its first-party studios?
That's a pretty slow start.
I would say. And like the game is like really not. It's like an interactive drama or something. It's like you're calling it a game. Okay, we're using that term loosely. It doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. For it to be the only thing, I'm just like, I'm not interested in it. Nor do I even have Game Pass anymore, because I was not interested in a lot of things that they had.
Mm-hmm. Kelly? I mean, Kristie? Sorry. I'm so used to calling Kelly.
They're using it very loosely at this point, but 7 months? Like, I understand that some games need more development, but at the same time, it's like, 7 months, that's a long time, to be honest.
The article goes on to say, yes, Xbox Game Studios hasn't published a game since last fall's Halo Infinite. This dearth of first-party releases had led some Game Pass subscribers to publicly point out how the service isn't fully living up to its promise. But at its Not E3 press conference in June, Microsoft claimed 50 major games would head to Game Pass over the next year, many of which are set to be published by Xbox Game Studios. So, we've got the last game being Halo Infinite, which we just discussed, is almost a year old. 7 months into 2022, we have the first title, As Dusk Falls, which is apparently not a hit on this podcast. I did start it. I'm interested in it. It's very much like, I love The Quarry. I love games like that. So I'm interested in seeing where the story goes because I love a story-driven narrative. This is a great, actually, game that you should have in your classroom to teach teacher. Narrative design. But anyway,
link on this podcast episode.
Anyway, does the thought of those, knowing that we've had this promise of games coming for Game Pass from Xbox Studios more than once before, does the promise of these new games entice any of you towards Game Pass? Does it make up for the dearth of games from last year's Halo Infinite to this year's As Dusk Falls? Is Xbox and their game studios just not doing enough in comparison to PlayStation? Like, does this change your view of Game Pass at all? How do you guys feel about this?
I'm legit the wrong person to ask because I don't have an Xbox.
So it doesn't entice you at all to even get one or Game Pass?
No, not really.
I'm just,
unfortunately.
If we're talking about me personally, I'm just really not the audience for this kind of stuff because I've said it on previous podcasts. I think Game Pass in general is a really great deal for a lot of people, but I'm just the kind of person that just like sticks to one game for all and knows what I want. Like having a bunch of games just at the ready is just not something not how I play games. So especially something like this where the big exclusives are only coming out like. The last one was Halo Infinite, and this now as Dusk Falls, your next big exclusive for 7 months. That does nothing for me. Like if I was someone that did get an Xbox to play exclusives, this would definitely be a deterrent for me to like continue my Game Pass subscription because otherwise, in between that 7 months, you have third-party games that release in other platforms. You know.
Yeah.
But also they're kind of running into the same issue Nintendo had when they announced the N64. There was that fear that service would not be updated as frequently as they were, because I know that I think Brandon and I talked about this, was that Nintendo, they had issues with their NES and SNES Online where it was irregular updates, and a lot of people were really, really frustrated and very upset with Nintendo for that.
So I'm gonna ask.
Oh no, go ahead.
I'm going to ask Kelly first, because I know she is probably the most familiar with Game Pass. When you get Game Pass, do you look forward to Xbox exclusives coming day one? Like, is that something that you purchase Game Pass thinking about?
Yes. So whenever Halo was out, I definitely thought about that.
And so does the... I'm assuming the answer is no, but, like, does... thinking about all the other indie titles on Game Pass entice you at all? Or is it specifically for you just something that's all about first-party titles day one for a subscription fee?
It just depends. Like, I feel like the games that were on there were enticing to me. Some of them were indies, but some of them weren't. But like I said, it's kind of a moot point because I canceled it. Because it just wasn't... Like, I was paying for my boyfriend to play, like, Forza or something, you know, like it really would be the first party titles, but it's like it's not worth it to keep paying every month. So it's getting me, but it's not keeping me. Okay.
So like for you, it's like, all right, Halo Infinite, I'll pay the $15 a month, play it for a month or two, maybe pay $30 for 2 months, get your enjoyment out of Halo Infinite, maybe anything else indie on there, and then you're done.
Yeah.
All right, fair. Brandon, you have an Xbox. I know that you said like nothing. Your Xbox Game Pass is not for you, but you think it's a good value. Do you still think it's a good value?
I think it's a good value if you're just trying. Like, I don't think a lot of people that have Game Pass necessarily are only getting it for the first party Xbox games. They just want to play a whole variety of different games. And to be fair to Microsoft, within that 7 months, they haven't released any first party besides Halo Infinite now as Dusk Falls, but a lot of other big games have been coming to Game Pass day one that they could still have played if they would have liked to in between that time. So I think for someone that just likes to try a whole bunch of different things, I think it's still a good value for them. I just don't think it's a good value for those who only really want to play the first-party exclusives.
Yeah, okay. So that's what I was going to ask you. Like, do you think it's a good value for those who are going on the promise of first-party exclusives day one?
Yeah, that's. I think 7 months is way too long. That's more than half a year. If that's all you want the service for, that's frankly unacceptable.
Right? Can you imagine paying for Xbox for Game Pass for more than half the year, waiting for a console exclusive launch, and it's as dusk falls?
Yeah, think about that for a second. If you're paying $15 a month for 7 months, that's more expensive than the Xbox games in general. That if you're only getting like those two in the 7-month period, that's more than you would have spent for.
And I know that Jarrell, he's had some issues with Game Pass as well too, where he would say great things, and I would be like, yes, I'm on it, I'm going to, and I'm just like, guess what, guys? They took off the third-party game. I'm like, oh well.
Yeah. I had that issue with it. I also have this issue with it, which is I have some Game Pass codes that I bought for, when games come out. One of them was for Halo Infinite. I used one of them. I enjoyed Halo Infinite for a little bit, and then that was it. And, I do think there's a difference between AAA titles developed specifically for a console, right? Like, we know when there's a PlayStation exclusive that shit is gonna be like top tier, right? God of War, Final Fantasy, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever PS5 exclusive you're getting, you know that it's gonna be a top tier video game, like, period. Same thing with Switch. If there's something that is most of the time, if there's something that's coming out for Switch that's a Switch exclusive that is like a first party title from Nintendo, you know it's gonna be top tier. It's gonna be made specifically for the console that it's made for. I think that Xbox has the problem that, like, I think Halo Infinite is a perfect example, right? Like, we all know what we're looking for when we look at, Halo Infinite. Everyone who has an Xbox and Game Pass knows exactly what they want, and they're looking for that specificity when it comes to Game Pass. However, I don't know that other titles are going to be giving us that. I mean, we talked about Starfield, right? Like, it was a pass for, I think, almost all of us at the time when we finally saw what it was. And even everything shown off that Xbox was coming out with, I was excited for Redfall. I saw it and I was like, so this is basically another game. So, like, I just keep wondering who Game Pass is for, I guess. Like, I just keep wondering who Game Pass is for, and I'm honestly disappointed in Xbox for, I have to say this because I complain about Nintendo and paying more money for less options for their Nintendo Switch Online system, or service rather. So I have to complain about Xbox now because Halo Infinite was great, but it was last year, and 7 months into the year, all you have is As Dusk Falls. Now, it is a game that I wanted to play, so I am gonna play it. I'm gonna enjoy it, but I can't say anything else about it because I'll get myself in trouble. But, like, for me, sure, this is fine. I am happy that I do have a way to play this game on Game Pass, but at the end of the day, I could have just bought this game, saved some money in the long run, and been done with it. So I'm not necessarily a fan of how Xbox is handling the situation because we're waiting on exclusives. I paid for this console. It's collecting dust. And that's the sad truth. It's like it's here on my for anyone watching. It's literally right there on this TV because this is my shit TV. While I wait to get my other TV, my PlayStation's on the good TV because that one has good console exclusives. Whoopsie.
Oops.
Yeah. Anywho, that's it for today. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Kristie, and thank you, Brandon. It's been a long one, but we got through everything. A little bit longer than usual. Hope everyone sticks with us for the entire time. Thank you for everyone who did stick with us for the entire time.
And among those people
comment or two.
Among those people who stick with us for the entire time is Gabe, who says, so Gabe was right, and it's better to just buy the games because Game Pass isn't really worth it. You don't just game a whole bunch.
I mean, I never disagreed with you on that.
I also never disagreed with that.
I completely agree.
And he says it was nice seeing all of our beautiful faces again.
Well, we miss seeing your beautiful face, so come back to us soon. We'll figure out the scheduling so you can come back to us soon. Thank you once again, Kristie, Brandon, and Kelly. Thank you for everybody who's watching. Thank you for everyone who continues to listen every week. We love you all. Continue, please. You know, we can only do this because we actually have people that are watching and listening. So thank you so much. And with that, it's really late. So peace out, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Fear the deer.
Bye.